Hi, I'm Louise. I have lived at St Anne's Quay for 15 years, 10 of which I've been a director of St Anne's Quay Management Limited, which represents the views of 91 of the leaseholders who live here. When we first heard about the proposed development of plot 12 behind me, we were so excited because we wanted to engage with the developers and think about how this prestigious piece of land, which completes the Sir Terry Farrell master plan of the quayside, could enhance life at St Anne's. Unfortunately, what has been proposed has been universally rejected by all of the neighbours. And there are a number of key reasons for this. Some key facts as means of comparison. Neighbouring St Anne's Quay has got 91 apartments. The proposed development is 292. St Anne's has got 10 stories. The new development is proposed to be 15. And really importantly, heritage is a huge factor. Grade 1 St Anne's Church behind will lose all of its important views and links with the quayside. The developer has put forward many different plans showing the proposed footprint of plot 12. Nothing is sure, but one thing that seems certain and consistent throughout is that the existing line of the buildings on the quayside, which is where I am, will be broken, and instead it is proposed that the new building will come a long way further forward, breaking all visual immunity. The developers are proposing a 20-metre corridor between St Anne's Quay and the new plot 12. This will remove most of the daylight, sunlight of the east side of St Anne's, and most of these apartments will be completely overshadowed. 11 apartments will be utterly overlooked with no other view but to the east, and 25 will lose their privacy with people overlooking them. This 20-metre corridor is also proposed as the exit for vehicles from plot 12. This means that this peace and quiet will now be replaced by noise and a vast amount of fumes. The proposed development contains only 47 car parking spaces, 4 of which are disabled and a further 2 are drop-off and pick-up bays. This is for 292 apartments, many of which are 2-bed and aimed at couples. Most of the surrounding developments work on a ratio of 1:1, 1 apartment to 1 car parking space, and many of them, certainly at St Anne's Quay, are completely oversubscribed. The other question is what governance is going to be in place. So you may well attract some key workers who are working and walking up to the Newcastle city centre and working from there each day, but what about those who already own a car? And what if people change job and have to commute out of the area each day? What is going to happen, and the reality, is that the development will push people onto local streets which are already very busy, and it will upset the area, particularly along towards the Ousburn.
Yes, my name's Andrew. I live here at St Anne's Quay. I just think it's a real shame that what should have been a really exciting piece of news about developing the last piece of the quayside has been spoilt by the sheer size of the proposed development. So this is my apartment, and the new building is going to go like really close to this side of the building. I'm actually going to lose a huge amount of daylight. So at the minute I get all of the sunlight coming into the apartment, but the building's going to be so tall and so close, I'm going to be really overshadowed and I'm going to lose a lot of light into my apartment. One of the things that I really liked about the area and that drew me to move here was kind of the heritage of the area in the quayside. We've got St Anne's Church right there and the graveyard at St Anne's. It's just a fantastic area, and just don't think the proposed development's in keeping with the rest of the area.
Hi, I'm Liz. I work here as a concierge, and to my left here is St Anne's Church. When I first came here I didn't realise it, and it wasn't until my sister pointed out that my great-great-grandfather was married in there. I just think it's fantastic that I work at St Anne's and only a few metres away is my family history. Well, I didn't know at the time, I didn't know about the family history, but I always used to look up at it. And when I started working at St Anne's, I used to think, I don't know, I had some kind of affinity with the church. And then it wasn't until a family member pointed out that there was a connection with the great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather I should say. And it was then that I looked into the history and confirmed that it was true. I visited the church just to retrace the footsteps, and I don't know, I might sound a bit funny here, but it was a funny feeling knowing that the grandfather had tread the same steps, as it were, inside the church. Doing the research that I've done, I've found out that St Anne's has always been known as a sailors' church. It was the type of place where people from the Quay, sailors, if they needed to go there, they had somewhere to go. The link between the Quay and St Anne's is surely going to be spoilt by this development, and it's going to break historical link between the two.
Hi there guys, my name's Ian McGlasson. I'm one of the directors at Quay on City Road in Newcastle upon Tyne. The reason why we're making this little video clip is to protest a little bit about the new development at plot 12 on Quay. As one of the directors and having discussions with quite a few of the directors, we're quite concerned about the new development that's going to be placed on that piece of land. The main thing is the old church, which is 14th century. We're quite concerned about that because of structural problems that might incur. Also, the size of the new development is quite large, so it'll block out light, sunlight, views to a degree on certain angles along our block in Quay. One thing about the church, it's quite a sight when I first bought here from Australia. I get a lot of overseas guests that stay with me here, and I love letting them walk around the Usburn and the quayside, etc. One of the biggest attractions I've noticed is the church itself, which you can see from the quayside level, and as you walk around the church itself is absolutely beautiful. I think for that church not to be seen as it is today concerns me greatly. I think this is a heritage listed building that we need to keep, and we need to make sure that everyone can see it. It's there for the neighbourhood and for the use of a lot of people. Talking to a lot of people around the area, which I sort of talk to on very regular occasions, is how many people do use that church. I'm one of them. I do meetings there through Quay. We've held meetings there for annual general meetings, etc. It's just a beautiful area to be around. It'd be horrible to see something next door that's going to be so tall and so high, blocking out light and the view of that church, and it's important we keep it.
What is really surprising is that a number of prestigious studies, as well as Newcastle Council policies, are there to protect the East Quayside and St Anne's Church. Indeed, in 2003, the Tyne Gorge study was prepared with the brief to set the context for managing future change and identifying threats. Of St Anne's Quayside, it identifies a specific threat to the gorge character as new built development that is overly large in scale, for example development that masks the scale of the topography of the gorge sides. It also states new built development that obscures local landmarks along the lip of the gorge, for example St Anne's Church. And then there's Newcastle Council's tall building guidance itself. And on this it states, tall buildings should be sited in areas of the city that have minimal visual impact on sensitive historic environments. Retaining and enhancing key strategic views through the careful siting of tall buildings is a key objective. Tall buildings should complement, not compromise, strategic views and important vistas in the city. It also goes on to say, in general, new tall buildings should not visually impinge on the setting of or important views of listed buildings. This particularly applies to the visual envelope surrounding single buildings, such as churches. And Newcastle Council's UC13 policy, the wording is, to respect important public views, there will be a presumption against development proposals that would cause significant harm. Views that will be respected include those from or across or into the town gorge and of designated heritage assets, other distinctive landmark buildings and structures. This should have been a time of real civic celebration, the last piece in the jigsaw of the prestigious Quayside Master Plan. Instead, it's being universally rejected by all of its neighbours and the wider population. This is a potential PR disaster for Newcastle Council. What I would urge those in planning to do is please just listen to these views. Indeed, if you read the community statement in what has been submitted, you will see an overwhelming amount of negative feedback and comment. What we want is an appropriate development of Plot 12. We're excited to engage with that, but not something that is wholly inappropriate. If you're listening to this and you want to join us or express a view, then please feel free to come to our website www.stanskeymanagement.co.uk or get in contact with the council directly, planning.control@newcastle.gov.uk. Thank you.